for liberty. This is the Bill Mason Show.
Welcome to the Bill Mason Show. This is Richard.
And I am Bill.
Hey, Bill. And today is November the 19th, 2019. And we have a lot to talk about, Bill.
Yeah, today was an eye-opener for, I think, most people who have a brain.
So today we're going to talk about, of course, the impeachment hearing that went on today. Little summary of that. We're going to talk about the poisoning of Donald Trump. We're going to show that he was rushed to his vehicle on Saturday, rushed to the hospital. Supposedly he was poisoning through his Diet Coke that he was drinking. A tester fell ill, and so they thought maybe Trump might have got something in his Diet Coke. And then we're going to talk about Epstein's guards that were charged for falsifying the records today.
Shocker.
And then Julian Assange rape charge was dropped today after 9 years. Didn't have enough evidence. And so those things and more we're going to talk about. So, Bill, just give me a summary. I mean, what do you think happened today in the hearings?
In the hearings, I think once again it was kind of a letdown. They brought out Vindman in full military garb. You know, he's a lieutenant colonel, and I get all of that. And the lines of questioning that the Democrats went after, they were softballs. It was so predictable. It was building up the character. It was how many years have you served, and like all of these things, and then no questions, no hard questions. And then of course Jim Jordan comes out swinging for the fences, and he's like, where were you, at the time? You were in the call. Who did you debrief? Who did you read out? All of these things. And it got to this one pinnacle moment where Jim Jordan's saying, okay, you said you read out to one person. We have him. Who was the other person you read to? And Schiff interrupts and goes, stop trying to out the whistleblower. And I'm like, are they that stupid? Is that like saying that he read the whistleblower, the transcript? Like, this is unbelievable. So Schiff keeps acting like Lord of the Flies, like he's the one with the conch shell, and no one else can have a minute to talk. And he's cutting off witnesses. It's the same old story. But I think the Vindman testimony did nothing for the Democrats. It blew up in their face once again. He basically said that, Trump had executive power to do everything that he did. I mean, mind-blowing.
Yeah, we're going to show Jim Jordan's clip in a minute. But what about the poisoning of Trump? What do you think is going on there?
I can't imagine. Like, if it's come to this point where they've struck out with Stormy Daniels, they struck out with the Russia collusion, they're going to strike out with this. Now they're resulting the poison in the guy's Diet Coke. I mean, holy cow, man! You can't make this up.
No, you can't.
They talked about like real quick. I'll show this book about Q and the big awakening, and some of the things that he talks about, like the storm when it comes, it'll be so undeniable. The evil that will show itself, they can't run and hide anymore, and they're just really showing themselves. And I wonder if they know they're doing it at this point. It's crazy.
I don't think so. I mean, they look like they're acting normal, but they're not.
It's not
evil
normal.
Showing its head.
It's everywhere, and it seems to be peppered in the government. And it's the people that are connected to this Ukraine thing are, Obama administration trusted insiders, and this is going to blow up in their face. I know it is.
Ukraine's just a big mess. I mean,
Yeah.
that the whole storyline. I mean, we're going to have to take a whole 2 shows to show everything. I mean, it's going to take a while.
There's so much to digest in that.
There is.
And in these testimonies, actually, Adam Schiff said today, he said he has an open mind of which direction this is going to go. And that's something that, like, you don't say when you think you have evidence it's going to work for you.
You don't.
Shocking.
Yeah. So we're going to show a clip of Donald Trump being rushed to an SUV to go to Walter Reed Hospital on Saturday. And then we're going to show another clip of him talking today. He's fine. So, but we're going to show that clip and digest that and talk about it. So here we go.
Wow, look how thick the door is on that thing.
Oh, I know. It's a beast.
You think that'll stop a bullet? Wow.
We're going to show it again, show Trump get in the car. It wasn't very clear there. So here he goes. Of course, the guys with the shades are the Secret Service, but looks like that one guy doesn't have any shades.
Now that's not the Beast. I thought the Beast was a Cadillac Escalade or something. That's another heavy duty vehicle. I wonder how many they have.
There he is. So there he goes in the car. People are rushing around. Not as rushing as I thought it was going to be, but I don't think he wasn't life-threatening supposedly right then. So there you have it. Donald Trump going to the hospital on Saturday. And here he is today. And he talked about the impeachment inquiry and his hospital visit. Here we go.
The press needs a physical.
I thought I'd bring it up while we're here. I went for a physical on Saturday. My wife said, "Oh, darling, that's wonderful," because I had some extra time. Because it looks like January could be a busy month if she's able to get the vote, which she should be able to. Woman's highly overrated. Woman is highly incompetent. And if she's able to get the vote, so maybe she'll get it by using USMCA, but I went for a physical, and I came back. My wife said, "Darling, are you okay? What's wrong?" "Oh, they're reporting you may have had a heart attack." I said, "Why did I have a heart attack?" "Because you went to Walter Reed Medical Center. That's where we go when we get the physicals." I said, "I was only there for a very short period of time. I went, did a very routine, just a piece of it, the rest of it takes place in January, did a very routine physical, visited the family, visited a couple of groups, but visited the family of a young soldier who was very badly injured, who was in the operating room. I toured the hospital for a little while. I was out of there very quickly. I got back home. And I get greeted with the news that we understand you had a heart attack. I was called by our people in public relations. "Sir, are you okay?" I said, "Okay from what?" "The word is you had a heart attack. CNN said you may have had a heart attack. You had massive chest pains. You went to the hospital." These people are sick. They're sick. And the press really in this country is dangerous. We don't have freedom of the press in this country. We have the opposite. We have a very corrupt media, and I hope they can get their act straightened out, because it's very, very bad and very, very dangerous for our country. Thank you very much. Go ahead, please. Thank you.
All right, so that was him talking today about what happened on Saturday, him being rushed to the hospital. But the word is that his tester, Secret Service tester, fell ill while testing his Diet Coke, and they were afraid that he had substance inside the Diet Coke that would affect him as well. So they rushed him to the hospital. So
Unbelievable.
it is.
And you know what? He's right. The funny thing that he talks about the press, how sick they really are, is that they can't not have a comment about what Trump does that is neutral. We'll say neutral. Like most countries that have integrity would report, oh, the president today, was even if he was rushed to a medical center, he's checked out and now he's okay or whatever.
Mhm.
Only CNN would be like, oh, it was a massive coronary, because they're like, fingers crossed, maybe he died. Like, they're just terrible, awful people, man.
Horrible.
It's sickening.
Yeah, it's not good. I mean, the media lies all the time, and they get it wrong all the time now. I don't know how you can stay in business when you get it wrong all the time.
Well, that's the thing. That's the Trump bump. I mean, honestly, they always have something to talk about. There's always room for the opposite opinion. So that's what they do. They just occupy that seat and wait to talk. I mean, everything he does, they can put a spin on, and they do.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like their business model at this point, because what would they talk about if Trump wasn't president?
That is
The
true.
world, the chaos in the world, the homelessness in California. I mean, maybe normal things that news outlets talk about.
Right.
Instead, they talk about, oh my God, I hope he had a heart attack.
Right. Well, the chaos in the world. I mean, there's Hong Kong protesters being rounded up. It's total chaos there. Bolivia's still protesting. I got videos of that. There's people just flowing in the streets. We got Iranian protests in the streets.
Yeah, Iran has no cell service and no internet. From
No,
what I
they're
heard.
trying to get the videos down. I got videos of Iran protests too, as well, with a cool little music to it as well. So we'll play that at some point. Maybe not tonight though. But anyway, so it's chaos throughout the whole world. We have, of course, the impeachment hearing. So we can dive into that a little bit. So we're going to play a clip of Jim Jordan speaking to one of the witnesses. Do you have any kind of feedback on what happened with Jim Jordan?
Jordan was his usual self. He respected Vindman. I gotta say that about him. He respected Vindman, and he treated him not like a hostile witness or anything. He asked him very clear, concise questions.
Mm-hmm.
And it seemed like Schiff felt the need to jump in and make sure that Vindman didn't back himself into a corner, which he did, because he eventually ended up saying that Trump had all the executive power in the world to ask for an investigation into a foreign crime,
Right.
or a crime that involved Americans that happened on foreign soil. That's something that is the sole power of the president. Foreign policy is what the executive branch does, and that's that, and he said it. So
yeah, Trump had the right to do whatever he wanted to do. You're right about that. And then why would this guy even be offered a defense minister of Ukraine 3 times?
right.
I don't understand that. Why would they offer him that?
Well, he's obviously some sort of an insider. I think it looked like they were trying to make a chessboard. They were trying to make sure all their pieces, they knew which way they were going to move. They put them all in the right places. And then, honestly, it looked like Trump getting elected threw a lot of that stuff off.
Oh, yeah.
Because once they realized that it wasn't going to be the game that they envisioned, that Trump was going to ask some questions. And I think they're more scared about the Ukraine than they are of anything about Russia. I think more ties to the scandal-free Obama administration is in the Ukraine.
Yeah, Obama never had any scandals.
Yeah, this might be the biggest scandal in history. If this really blows up to be a money laundering, like it's apparent, the 1.8 billion that disappeared into a bank that they knew an oligarch owned, and they knew he was shady and under investigation. They put the money in there anyway.
Right.
Shocker.
Yeah, I mean that's another story all of its own. We could spend hours on that one.
Yes, yes, we could.
But let's go to Jim Jordan. Him talking to the witness, and we will talk about it. If you want to jump in anytime, you can do so.
All right.
Hey, are you tired of the media spinning the truth and pushing false narratives upon you? Well, take a look at this. Over the last 2 years,
Everywhere we go, we see Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah, right. That's another media black hole that they just keep avoiding. You don't see much talk about that.
No.
I thank the ranking member. Colonel, I want to thank you for your service and sacrifice to our great country. This afternoon, your former boss, Mr. Morrison, is going to be sitting right where you're sitting, and he's going to testify. And I want to give you a chance. I think we're bringing you a copy. I want to give you a chance to respond to some of the things Mr. Morrison said in his deposition, page 82 of the transcript from Mr. Morrison. Mr. Morrison said this: I had concerns about Lieutenant Colonel Vindman's judgment. Among the discussions I had with Dr. Hill in the transition was our team, its strength, its weaknesses, and Fiona and others had raised concerns about Alex's judgment. When Mr. Morris was asked by Mr. Castor, did anyone ever bring concerns to you that they believe Colonel Vindman may have leaked something, Mr. Morrison replied, yes. So your boss had concerns about your judgment. Your former boss, Dr. Hill, had concerns about your judgment. Your colleagues had concerns about your judgment, and your colleagues felt that there were times when you leaked information. Any idea why they have those impressions, Colonel Vindman?
Yes, Representative Jordan. I guess I'll start by reading Dr. Hill's own words, as she attested to in my last evaluation that was dated middle of July, right before she left. Alex is a top 1% military officer and the best Army officer I've worked with in my 15 years of government service. He is brilliant, unflappable, and exercises excellent judgment.
So
it was it was exemplary during numerous visits, so forth and so on, but I think you get the idea. Mr. Morrison, yeah, the data that was, let's see, I'm sorry. July 13th.
There's always good stuff and bad stuff.
Mr. Jordan, I would say that I can't say what why Mr. Morrison questioned my judgment. We had only recently started working together. He wasn't there very long, and we were just trying to figure out our relationship. Maybe it was a different cultures, military culture versus.
And Colonel, you never leaked information?
I never did, never would. That is preposterous that I would do that.
Okay, Colonel, it's interesting. We deposed a lot of people in the bunker in the basement of the Capitol over the last several weeks, but of all those depositions, only 3 of the individuals we deposed were actually on the now somewhat famous July 25th phone call between President Trump and President Zelensky. There was you, the individual sitting beside you, Ms. Williams, and then there, of course, was your boss, Mr. Morrison, who I just read from his deposition. When we asked Ms. Williams, who she spoke to after the call, about the call, she was willing to answer our questions, and chairmanship allowed her to answer our questions. When we asked Mr. Morrison, who he spoke to after the call about the call, he was willing to answer our question, and Mr. Chairmanship allowed him to answer our question. But when we asked you, you first told us 3 individuals at the NSC, your brother and the 2 lawyers. And then you said there was a group of other people you communicated with, but you would only give us 1 individual in that group, Secretary Kent. And the chairman would only allow you to give us that name When we ask you who else you communicated with, you would not tell us. So I want to know first, how many other people are in that group of people you communicated with outside the 4 individuals I just named?
Yes, Mr. Jordan, on call readout, certainly after the first call, there were probably a half a dozen or more people that I read out. Those are people with the proper clearance and the need to know. In this case, because of the sensitivity of the call and Mr. Eisenberg told me not to speak to anybody else, I only read out, outside of the NSC, 2 individuals.
2 individuals.
Das Kent and one other person.
And you're not willing to tell us who that other individual is?
Mr. Chairman, point of order.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, point of order.
The gentleman will suspend. Counsel.
Mr. Chairman, I would ask you to enforce the rule with regard to the disclosure with regard to the intelligence officer.
Thank you, counsel. You know, as I indicated before, this committee will not be used to out the whistleblower. That same
Mr. Chairman,
necessity of
can you
protecting
stop the time so I don't lose
We
the
out
time?
him already.
assist, you are recognized again,
You
Mr.
know his
Jordan.
name, right, Bill?
Mr. Chairman,
Oh, yeah.
I don't see how this is outing the whistleblower. The witness has testified in his deposition that he doesn't know who the whistleblower is. You have said, even though no one believes you,
You know, I might
you
put
have
this
said
on
you don't
at
know who the
night so I can
whistleblower
go to
is.
sleep.
So how is this outing the whistleblower to find out who this individual is?
Mr. Jordan, this is your time for questioning. You can use it any way you like, but your question should be addressed to the
I'd like
witness.
to-
And your question should not be addressed to trying to out the whistleblower.
Well, okay.
What a clown.
Colonel Vindman, there's another thing Mr. Morrison told us in his deposition. He said he was not concerned about the call itself. He said there was nothing illegal or improper on the call, but he was concerned about the call leaking, the contents of the call leaking. He said this, he was concerned how it would play out in Washington's polarized environment, how the contents would be used in Washington's political process. Mr. Morrison was right.
Excuse me, Mr. Jordan, could I get a page?
Page 44.
Thank you.
Mr. Morrison was right. The call leaks. The whistleblower goes to Chairman Schiff, staff. Then he runs off to the lawyer, the same lawyer who said in January of 2017 the coup has started against President Trump. The one thing the Democrats they didn't count on was the president releasing the call transcript and letting us all see what he said. They didn't count on that. Transcript shows no linkage. The 2 individuals on the call have both said no pressure, no pushing, no linkage, but security assistance dollars to an investigation. Ms. Williams?
All right, so I'll pause it here. So what do you think's going on there, Bill?
Oh, he like I said before, he basically backed him into a corner, said, okay, who's that guy you read out? And the lawyer jumps in and goes, oh, stop trying to out the whistleblower.
Right.
And Adam Schiff goes, stop trying to out the whistleblower. And Jordan's like, wait a minute, are you saying you read out the whistleblower?
All right. So the whistleblower heard it from this guy.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
basically. And he wasn't supposed to leak it because, I guess I shouldn't say his name, but, he...
They don't say his name, they'll take our video off.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So he's a CIA analyst. He's tied to Brennan. He's tied to just about every seedy, swampy Democrat there is.
Right.
I mean, that's why they don't want to say his name, because when you really run the trail of where this guy has been and who he's worked for, you start to understand this guy's not a legit whistleblower. He's got an agenda.
And of course, his lawyer said the coup started back in 2017.
Oh yeah,
So-
he tweeted that like 2 hours after he was inaugurated.
Right. So, Russia collusion, impeachment, never happened. Now it's the Ukraine impeachment, which will probably happen. But they should have stayed on the Russian. That made a little bit more sense than the Ukraine one.
Yeah, I think they got really nervous. I think Trump was onto the trail. And one thing that I notice is they keep trying to lump Giuliani in this like he's some kind of I want to say like an enemy of the state, but he's fully allowed to what he's doing by law. Like those 2 guys that they indicted that were connected, quote unquote, to Giuliani somehow. Even that's going to be a hard thing to connect. Those 2 guys donated to all kinds of people in the political realm. you know, and conservatives and Democrats alike. These guys are just Ukrainian energy types who were trying to run an above board business, it looks like, in a sea of corruption.
Right.
So whatever information that Rudy got from them is yet to come out. And I think the Democrats wanted to very quickly indict these guys to shut them up. Kind of like if you could imagine Manafort putting his spin. Imagine if Manafort was free today to put his spin on the Ukraine, because he was there before, during, and almost like after.
He knows everything about Ukraine.
I think that was the reason that they pushed so hard to get him behind bars. And he's another one. He's in like a solitary situation too, where he can't talk to anybody.
Right. Yeah. Just like Roger Stone too.
Yeah. They needed to shut him up and get him out of the way so they could do this farce.
Yeah.
Because anybody who knows anything is either being shut up by Schiff, or they're, you know, been eliminated by the Democrats.
Right. Yeah. Roger Stone can't say anything until February, and that's when the sentencing is. So, and that's going to be way past the impeachment vote.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think this is two sides trying to play this out, because I also heard that, you know, Lindsey Graham, McConnell, they said, okay, these guys want to play ball. We'll do a real trial here where people are being cross-examined and everything's going to happen. And guess what? Cory Booker's got to sit there. Kamala Harris has to sit there.
Right.
Bernie Sanders has to sit there. No campaigning for you.
It's true. Yeah, you're
So,
right.
Oh, well.
All right. Well, let's finish the clip with Jim Jordan, and there's only like a minute left, I believe. So
Okay.
we try to put it back on again.
Oh, he ties it all together, actually. Like I saw this today. He's
So tomorrow, what's going to happen tomorrow? Have you heard who's up tomorrow, Bill?
I think tomorrow that Adam Schiff came out and said he's open to anything. So it's
I thank the ranking member. Colonel, I want to thank you for your service and sacrifice to our great country. This afternoon, your former boss, Mr. Morrison, is going to President Trump. The one thing they didn't count on was the president releasing the call transcript and letting us all see what he said. They didn't count on that. Transcript shows no linkage. The two individuals on the call have both said no pressure, no pushing, no linkage, but security assistance dollars to an investigation. Ms. Williams, after the call on the 25th, we know that Colonel Vindman talked to several people. After the call on the 25th, how many people did you talk to about the call?
I did not speak to anybody about the call.
Didn't speak to anybody?
No.
I yield back.
Mr. Himes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I ask unanimous consent to enter the Lieutenant Colonel's performance review into the record.
May I inquire of Colonel Vindman whether you would like us to do that? If you would, we're happy to. If you would prefer it not be in the record, I leave that to you.
With redactions.
Yeah, I guess with redactions, it has PII in it, and that should be protected. And maybe the only elements that are relevant are the actual narrative. Chairman.
Did you read the relevant portions, or?
I mean, that was the short version. There were some other paragraphs in there, but.
Chairman, I'll withdraw my request.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you both for your testimony. Ms. Williams, you joined the Foreign Service in 2006, correct?
Correct.
Prior to becoming a nonpartisan career official, you worked as a field representative.
All right. Well, that was it. All the testimony back and forth.
Well, then Williams, I could sum up real quick. So Williams comes out like this timid little bunny rabbit, saying like, oh, I don't know, something about the call. It just seemed like abnormal, like it's unpresidential. And then Jordan basically says, how long have you been doing this, by the way? You know, because I think she's only like 33 years old, and she's been doing this like less than a couple of years. So
Right.
for her to be like, yeah, this seems abnormal for a president to do, Jordan's like, where do you get that information?
Yeah, right. Yeah, 2 years into it, it's abnormal.
Yeah, you've got a lot to go on there, honey.
Yes, a long way to go.
Yeah.
Well, this happened just a few minutes ago. Israeli jets bombed Damascus. Looks like they hit a Iranian Hezbollah site. I got video of that. You want to see it?
Sure.
All right, let's take a look at that and see if we can cue this up here.
Well, it's not like Netanyahu didn't warn kind of like the world. He said, look,
Hey, I don't know if you heard.
Gloves off soon.
Oh, yeah, and they even confirmed it was them tonight, which they rarely do, actually.
Right.
They've been hitting them hard here lately. So this is tonight in Damascus, Syria.
Yeah, because they're, 8 hours ahead of us? So, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's it. So tonight, that was an explosion. I got video showing the jets over Lebanon. Looks like they fly over Lebanon and they shoot the missiles at Damascus and hit them while they're in Lebanon's airspace.
Yeah, and honestly, for Israel did they fly planes? I mean, they don't have to. Israel has the capability to hit Syria from land-based stuff too.
Oh, they do. They do. They don't. I think they just want to be more accurate. Yeah, they have missiles, drones.
Well, I think it's also when you scramble your Air Force, it kind of sends a message. And like I said, Netanyahu said last week, he said, I'm getting close to taking these gloves off. So things might be heating up in there. And I think maybe Netanyahu sees an opportunity with Iran dealing with this civil unrest that maybe it's his opportunity. I really don't know. I think he wants to clean up. He wants a buffer zone, you know? Right. I understand that.
Yeah, I don't blame him. I probably would have went in Gaza Strip a long time ago. I mean, they should probably invade that thing.
Taking rockets on any given Tuesday or whatever, it gets old real quick.
Yeah, I need to go ahead and get rid of those rockets because every day having the rockets bombard them, and then you have Hezbollah on the other side always trying to do something. Right. They have to, go in there and get rid of them. So let's talk about what's happening tomorrow. I know we tried to touch base while the video was trying to play, but tomorrow, so it's going to go on tomorrow and Wednesday. Is that right?
Yeah.
Or is it going to play out for the rest of this week?
I think they're going to stretch it out a whole week because they're waiting for this smoking gun testimony, and it's fail. So far they haven't. This is the first day that. So Vindman and Williams were actually in the room. It seems like, okay, so you're getting closer. You're sniffing on the trail, but these people aren't really giving you anything to go on. There's nothing impeachable coming out of this, and I can't imagine. Like I said, Schiff in a press conference said today, I'm open-minded on what direction we go in. So they wrote the rules for this too. That's the other thing. So they can call witnesses at any time. And they're also talking about a new witness tomorrow that they're going to depose, get a deposition from in a closed door setting. Okay. So once again, they're going to exclude Jim Jordan, Nunes, all these guys. They're going to do this closed door thing and then see if they want to bring this guy up for question. It's unbelievable.
And of course, the whistleblower will never appear.
No.
Yeah. So
I don't think they want him to. Honestly, he would break the case. He's so partisan. It's ridiculous.
right. Well, I mean, so we'll see what happens tomorrow. Now back to the poisoning. By the way, I just got word on somebody just sent me a message that they did test his food because they test his food every day. They run
Yeah,
it
they
through
have
some
to.
kind of scanner. So they run it through a scanner, and there's a tester after that. So they test for cyanide, all of this stuff. Then somebody
Right.
tests it. Supposedly, this substance is not a known substance that they test for. That was in the
Wow.
Diet Coke.
So think about that for a second, right? So that sounds like an inside job to me.
Mhm.
So imagine if you were in the close circle, maybe somebody who knows what they test for.
Mhm.
Okay, that's information that you can use alternatively for ill will purposes. So
Well,
that in itself.
Obama would know, and his physicians would know. Obama's
Well,
officials.
sure. And honestly, there are people, and we talked about this before we went on, that there's still Obama holdovers
Mhm.
that are left, lurking around the White House.
Yeah.
It's sad though that they're stooping to this level of poisoning a guy's Diet Coke. I never would imagine it would come to this.
Yeah. So I don't know what he's going to do. I mean, he has to eat and drink. I mean, he can't not eat and drink. So, so they're going to have to test for this substance. Suppose the substance can't be shown up in any kind of test. It's some kind of probiotic that's migrated that makes the virus or whatever it does, and activate in the bloodstream in the gut.
Well, I know if this was The Apprentice, that the whole kitchen staff and everybody probably fired.
Right.
Because Trump loves to just fire people because he says new blood works harder. He says that in his book.
Right.
He says you give somebody. He talks about it in his books. And like I said, I was a fan of Trump before he was president. If you let somebody get entrenched, they get comfortable, they get sloppy, they get lazy.
Mhm.
All you have to do every once in a while is fire somebody who does something, and it gets everybody else in line.
Right.
And I think he's done that. He's carried that over into his presidency. So I would be surprised to see a bunch of kitchen staff get fired.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I was not a Trump fan, by the way, before his election. By the way,
Well, sure.
all he had to say is Americanism, not globalism, and I was in love already. That was it.
Yeah, I mean, before he was, a presidential candidate, he was this brash, pompous, type of guy who flew around in helicopters with his name on it and all that stuff. But and when you really think about why would a guy who's a billionaire put his life on hold in his golden years when he should be retiring, sipping out of a coconut on some beach somewhere, which he fully should or could do. But no, he felt enough about this country that he put all of that on hold to get ridiculed every day and have people try to kill him. I mean, he's a true patriot. And like I said before, he's my whistleblower because now all of this stuff, the Great Awakening, storm, it's coming. And it's not a joke. It's really blowing up in their face. And we wouldn't even know it was there if it wasn't for Trump, realistically.
That's true. I mean, all the eyes opened when he started to run for president. We knew who the bad guys are and who the good guys are.
Right. And these bad guys keep coming out of the woodwork.
Oh, no.
These entrenched bad guys that just keep popping up and they'll do anything. They're fighting for their lives here.
Right. That's true. So, I mean, the only thing we really didn't touch base on, we did talk about a little bit about the Epstein guards were charged today for falsifying records. Obviously they had some kind of hand into it, or they did it on purpose, or something happened for them to falsify records.
I'm sure. And here's the thing about the prison guards make pretty good money. I'm pretty sure just the fact that Epstein 24 hours before his death created a trust, put $500+ million and other assets with stocks into a trust fund, and then dies the next day. Somebody got greased inside, and it was big. It was a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It was definitely worth risking your career, your life, or whatever for, because too many people wanted him dead.
Oh yeah, I mean, from the Queen all the way down
Yeah,
to
yeah,
whatever he did to young children, they wanted him dead for sure.
yeah. The
So,
the royals don't play, and
no.
and there was, not just the British royals, it was other royal princes too.
Oh yeah, it wasn't just the British. It was all over the world. Princesses and kings and queens and
Yeah.
politicians all flocked to this island to have a good old time.
So dark, and the spirit cooking that I looked a little bit into that, man. That is like, I don't even know if I got invited to a party and they said, what we're gonna
You can
do?
do some spirit cooking.
This is spirit cooking. I'd be like, no, I'm good.
Yeah, well, that's what the email is. The WikiLeaks. That's the whole deal, man. That was John Podesta and Hillary Clinton all coming to the spirit cooking
Yeah, man.
party.
They're into some weird, kinky stuff, man.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, we're going to go ahead and sign off for tonight. So we'll be on for Friday this week. We changed it from Thursday to Friday. So we'll see if our special guest comes on. If not, then we'll just move on. But we will talk about on Friday. We'll talk about different things, the impeachment hearing, of course, and then anything else that came up. We'll try to get some more information about the poisoning of Trump, and we'll go from there.
Hopefully we'll have a summary. I'm hoping for a summary. I'm hoping this is over by Friday, this whole impeachment hearing host.
I agree. Do you have any last remarks, Bill?
Epstein did not kill himself. And like and subscribe.
All right. Thank you, and good night to everybody.
All right. Good night.
Bye-bye.